Have you ever imagined suddenly hearing an intense scent of roses invade your living room, seeing the walls light up as if they were living stained glass windows, and realizing that the small image of Our Lady, there in the corner, has just shed a sparkling tear that shines like oil under the light of the lamp? Well, that's exactly what happened in the mysterious house number 230. An address so ordinary that one would never expect it to be the scene of something so extraordinary. The scene frightened even the most skeptical of neighbors, made people faint with emotion, and left the entire street in reverent silence. If you feel in your heart that you need intercession in the face of something impossible, write the name of the person who needs prayer in the comments right now. Let's take each request to our main rosary and cry out together for miracles. On that cloudy afternoon when it all began, the entire neighborhood was focused on the everyday news. Bills, traffic, overdue bills. Inside house number 230, however, a simple family was finishing the novena in front of a plaster statuette. Suddenly, the ceiling seemed to expand. A soft light painted the walls and the air was filled with a sweet aroma, as if they could pick invisible petals. The clock stopped for a second that seemed like an eternity, and when it started again, nothing would be the same. A thick drop of water flowed calmly from the image that would have puzzled any laboratory. The next day, the rumor had already spread beyond the walls. Friends, curious people, and even journalists wanted to see the inexplicable thing up close. An electrician, known for his mocking atheism, went in to unmask the story and left trembling, claiming to have seen the crucifix in the room pulsate like a living heart. With each visit, a new sign appeared. Candles that did not burn but gave off the smell of incense, a bluish light that appeared without an electrical source, an absolute silence, broken only by the whisper of prayers in chorus. The phenomena did not stop at visible signs. In just 3 days, reports of cures began to multiply. A blind woman regained part of her sight. An asthmatic teenager breathed without an inhaler for the first time in years. And a father, previously a victim of addiction, felt an instant repulsion to alcohol. It was impossible not to remember the Madonna of Tears of Syracuse, which wept for 4 days in 1953 and had its authenticity recognized after scientific examinations. Pressured by the popular commotion, the local ecclesiastical authority appointed a small team of experts. They collected the liquid that dripped from the statuette. It was a perfumed oil, free of additives, whose composition did not match any commercial product. The cameras were set up, the buzz grew, and right in front of the lenses, another tear appeared, silently. A rare scene that immediately recalled Civitavecchia, where the image purchased in Medjugorje shed tears of blood in 1995, disconcerting even the bishop who witnessed it. While scientists debated, people prayed. Every night, the sidewalks in front of House 230 became a sanctuary. Rosaries in hands, candles lit, Marian hymns echoing through the street. People who had hated each other for years forgave each other right there, embracing in tears. Yes, there were those who mocked. There always are. But even the coldest onlookers left moved. It's not every day that the ordinary opens a crack to the supernatural and makes you ask, am I taking care of my soul or just surviving? Over time, the commotion became a mission. Young people began distributing soup to the homeless in honor of the mother who visited House 230. Couples in crisis sought Christian counseling. Prayer groups multiplied in schools and hospitals. The neighborhood's mood changed. Fewer fights, less loud music in the early hours, more good morning at the gate. Even life goals were redefined, because when the extraordinary touches the ordinary, the responsibility to grow in holiness arises. And don't think that this was the first time that Our Lady chose a simple address. In the stories of Aparecida, We see pilgrims reporting massive graces, unexpected cures and family reconciliations just by touching the mantle of the Mother of Heaven. In Civitavecchia, the oil became blood. In Syracuse, the tears became a basilica. In House 230, the sign was perfume and light, but the message is identical. Convert, pray, take care of one another, renew your faith. Many times, the miracle does not appear in shining lights or in tears visible to the eyes, but happens silently within the chest, like that peace that inexplicably embraces us in the midst of the storm. It is the grace of Our Lady acting to transform the hardest hearts, the most wounded feelings. How many times do we insist on carrying old grudges, hurts that only corrode the soul, while the Mother of Heaven insistently calls us to forgive? The miracle of House 230 was not just physical. It was spiritual. It was the invisible liberation of those who, kneeling, cried, forgave, and were reborn. And here is the truth. For God, the greatest miracle is when one of His children returns home with a repentant heart and willing to love more and judge less. And there is no greater power in the world than the prayer of those who love. In that improvised sacred place, we saw mothers interceding for estranged children, elderly people praying for young people, children, with their eyes closed and hands together, whispering pure and hopeful requests. And my brothers, Our Lady does not despise a sincere plea. Perhaps the true miracle of House 230 was the silent multiplication of prayers that swept through the streets like a gentle wind of mercy. What began with a tear in the image spread like a fire of faith, igniting hearts that, until then, had been extinguished by the cynicism and haste of the modern world. Those days also marked a powerful lesson. When we open ourselves to faith, we allow the supernatural to transform even the most impossible situations. Many there realized that forgiveness is a step towards a miracle, not a consequence of it. How can we expect God to work wonders in our lives if we keep our hearts trapped in hatred, resentment, and a lack of love? The message from House 230 silently shouted, "Do you want miracles? Love, forgive, return to God." And so many accepted this call that today we can say, without fear of being wrong, that the greatest transformation was not in the statue. It was in the souls that responded to the divine invitation. That is why today I ask you, how many graces have you missed by not letting go of the heavy baggage that you insist on carrying? Who knows, maybe today will be the day for you to do as those people who, faced with the extraordinary, decided to completely change their lives. Who knows, maybe your miracle is just a request for forgiveness away. Our Lady continues to knock on the doors of our hearts, as she knocked on the door of House 230, saying, "Let me in, my son." So do not harden your spirit. Pray, forgive, trust. And remember, write in the comments the names of the people who need to be touched by the light of heaven. Let's put them in our rosary of faith and love. Now I bring it to your daily life. How many times do you run from app to app without setting aside 5 minutes for an Our Father? How many relationships could you have restored if you recognized that forgiveness is a daily miracle? Today, before going to sleep, take a moment to pray the rosary. Offer each decade for someone who hurt you. Ask for peace in your heart and more conversions in your home. And, with an open heart, write again in the comments the names of the people who need an urgent grace. Let's take them to the main prayer and believe in the impossible. Finally, I want to know your opinion. What does this extraordinary sign in House 230 say to your soul? Write in the comments if you believe that miracles still happen. And share personal experiences of faith. Oh, and don't forget to support this channel. Leave a like, subscribe to immerse yourself in new stories of hope, and click on the bell so you don't miss any virtual blessings. Until the next video. And may Our Lady cover you with her mantle of love.